Good evening. Thank you for making yourselves available for this press conference, which is very important given the scale of the investigation. I'm speaking to you today because, following on from the burglary of the Louvre, there's been a great deal of emotion, but the investigation has moved forward significantly. I have alongside me General Carreau, who is head of the Brigade of Repression of Banditism. I've got Mr. Jean-Baptiste Félicité, who is head of the Central Office for Crimes Against Cultural Heritage, and I've also got the Deputy Prosecutor from the Division of Organized Crime within the Prosecutor's Office of Paris. I wanted them to be alongside me, in order to thank them for their incredible commitment. Since the events happened, this investigation has been led by a specialist organization of the Prosecutor's Office of Paris. We've been working day and night in order to get all the approvals necessary to carry out action as quickly as possible. All the police officers from the BRB, from the police services, have been constantly mobilized in order to seek and find the thieves and the stolen jewels. In order to achieve the same objectives, the investigators from the OCBC and all the specialists from the regional services of the scientific police departments have analyzed more than 150 samples. The laboratories of the police service have carried out investigations with extreme levels of urgency. Officers from the cybercriminality department have investigated the cyber access. The brigade of action was involved in the arrest. We also drew on reinforcements from other brigades of the Paris Police Service, the Criminal Service, the Protection of Minors Service, the Anti-Prostitution Services, the Cyber and Financial Subdirectorates, and all of the different departments of the Paris Police Service. So, to sum up, I would like to highlight the major mobilization of more than 100 investigators who've worked throughout the week, day and night, in order to identify the criminals and to try to find the jewels. The current proceedings have 189 items of evidence under seal, which were found on the scene of this crime and during the searches. Thanks to all of the work carried out on Saturday, the 25th of October in the evening, 2 people were arrested. One was arrested at 8 p.m. at Charles de Gaulle Airport when he was trying to board an aircraft to Algeria on a one-way ticket. The second suspect was arrested at 8:40 p.m. close to his home. There was nothing to suggest that he was trying to leave the country, despite what some media have said. These 2 men are suspected of being those who entered the Apollo Gallery to take the jewels. One is 34 years old and is an Algerian national. He's been living in France since 2010 in the town of Aubervilliers. He was unemployed at the time of his arrest, but in the past he had previously worked as a delivery driver. He was known to the police for road traffic offences, but had also been convicted of one theft. He was targeted through DNA samples that were found on one of the scooters used as a getaway vehicle. The second suspect is 39 years old. He lives in Aubervilliers and he was born there. He said that he is a taxi driver, but he had also been a delivery driver. He has been known to the police for aggravated theft in 2008 and 2014, and he is out on bail for another affair, another case, which is going to be judged in November in Bobigny. He said that during the interviews, that during the thefts, he had carried out ram attacks on a cash machine. His DNA was found on one of the broken windows and on the items left behind when he escaped. The DNA does not come from hair or for any other item. Both of the people who've been arrested have partially confessed. They are being presented by the examining judge with a view to being charged with thefts as part of a gang. These crimes would be punishable with 15 years of imprisonment and a very significant fine. The charge of conspiracy has also been pressed, which would lead to another 10 years of imprisonment. They will be presented before a sentencing judge because they have been, the prosecution has requested they are remanded in custody. All the members, not all of the members of the team have been arrested, but I won't give you more detail of the evidence that we are aware of. The case is now available to the lawyers of the people who have been charged, but the investigation remains a secret. The jewels have not yet been returned to our possession. I do remain hopeful that they will be found and returned to the Museum of the Louvre and to the French nation. These jewels are clearly impossible to sell because anyone who was to buy it would be immediately guilty of handling stolen goods. So there is still time to hand them back. We know now that the truck-mounted ladder and the truck had been stolen just before 9 a.m. from on the 10th of October 2025. The victim of the theft told us that he had been called for a removal job, and when they arrived, they were tied up by two men who took the vehicle. Very significant, minutious work of analysis of the video footage, both of the places where the thieves arrived and where they escaped to. This analysis was carried out by investigators from the Brigade of Repression. It shows us where the thieves went before attacking the Louvre. We understood that they met up at a meeting point where they changed vehicles before they went to the museum. Use of images from the CCTV cameras and from Paris municipal cameras show the presence of at least 4 people at the time of the theft. 2 people with yellow jackets went up on the platform and the ladder up to the Apollo gallery. They broke the window at 9:34. Then they went to 2 showcases. They cut the glass with disc cutters and then took the jewels at 9:38. They exited the building via the same route. The crown of Princess Eugenie was found by the investigators. The director of the Louvre has said how difficult it will be to restore this piece. The security officers made sure that the gallery was evacuated without safely. 20 or so witnesses have been interviewed by the investigators. Although people were scared by the break-in and the use of the disc cutter, no one was threatened. Unlike what has been said in some media outlets, there is no evidence that the thieves benefit from an insider help. Some people saw the thieves leave by the same truck as they left. Petrol was found and a jerry can. As the police and security services from the museum arrived, the thieves were unable to set fire to the truck. The two thieves then met up with the other two criminals and fled on scooter from along the banks of the Seine. Then they changed vehicles and headed to the east of Paris. Investigations are carried out under the authority of two judges in the prosecutor's office with the same determination and the same support from the prosecutor's office and the same objectives. It's easy to understand the emotion and the curiosity that everyone has with regard to these events. Nonetheless, in order to carry out the investigation efficiently, we need to work calmly and discreetly. That is why I will not be able to tell you any more this evening. If any further evidence were to become possible to communicate, I would come before you and speak again. Thank you very much. I will take a few questions, but I will obviously not be able to answer all the questions, and I can't really go beyond the details that I've just given you. Thank you very much.
Bonjour, Maxime Clérusa pour BFM TV. Est-ce que vous avez des pistes de l'ADN éventuellement pour les deux autres malfaiteurs toujours en fuite? Merci.
Any evidence of the two other criminals who are still on the run? We have a lot of evidence that we can use, and investigations are carrying on, but I can't say any more than that at this time. Inaudible question being asked.
Ça fait partie des, j'allais dire, des techniques policières habituelles, c'est-à-dire que, encore une fois, ce qu'il faut souligner dans ce dossier, c'est la mobilisation intense de l'ensemble des services enquêteurs.
Is the incredible mobilization of all of the investigation services. I've listed a large number of them over the last weekend, and the next days, all of the different policing services, investigators have been looking at the evidence under seals. So sometimes it will be video images, sometimes it's DNA that gives a clue. If we have DNA evidence, we compare it to databases. The two people who've been charged and are under investigation have both known to the police, so if you have their DNA details on file, you match it and you go to the addresses that you have on file. I think there's no point in hiding things today. The fact that one of the suspects was seeking to leave the country on Saturday led us to move faster on the arrests that we wished to make. Once again, the mobilization of the police enabled us to carry out those arrests successfully. Inaudible question. I can't say any more about their statements because they are again speaking to the examining judges, and I don't want to say any more. I know that you're listening very carefully, but I cannot exclude the fact that their accomplices might be listening, so I'll be very careful with what I say, if you allow me. Another inaudible question.
Alors, donc, de toute façon, aujourd'hui, comme je l'ai expliqué,
as I have already explained, when we have any new evidence, and I hope that we will have further evidence, we will express ourselves again in front of the press conference. I'm going to be the only one speaking today. I have two investigators alongside me, but it's mainly to thank them for their investigative work.
Je ne répondrai pas sur l'intégralité des auteurs qui sont susceptibles d'être impliqués dans cette enquête.
Speak about all of the people who may be involved in the investigations. As I said at the start of what
par les systèmes de vidéo surveillance
I was saying, using our CCTV systems, we have identified the involvement of 4 criminals, but we do not rule out the fact that there might be a larger group, perhaps someone who has commissioned the crime, someone who has ordered the theft of the jewels that were stolen.
Je ne répondrai pas à cette question parce que vous répondre, ça serait
I will not answer this question. If I were to answer, it would indicate the existence of some evidence that we still want to use.
À peu près ce qu'ils auraient pu déclarer.
And it would be revealing what was said in the statements. Perhaps 2 more questions, and then I will bring this to an end. A further inaudible question.
Donc, comme je vous l'ai dit, le fait qu'ils allaient voler des bijoux ne me fait dans mon état d'esprit aucun doute.
That they wanted to steal jewels is not in doubt. The next stages will show the way that they structured their operations, which I would refer to as a commando operation. I've described the way they worked. One of them had some road traffic offences and 1 theft conviction. The second suspect had been convicted of some thefts, and in particular, and this is one of the things he said in his statements, he talked about an aggravated theft using a car to ram a cash machine in order to steal the cash contained in it.
At
the moment, investigations are ongoing, and these are some of the aspects that I don't wish to speak about today. Thank you very much. A further inaudible question.
As
I said, I will not make any statement on evidence that we still have in our possession. Thank you very much. Let's have a final question from a lady, please, for gender parity.
Moi, ce que je constate, comme j'ai pu vous le dire dans ces
as I have already said to you in my brief press conference,
est concomitante avec
when the police arrived, they arrived at the same time as the security services from the museums, almost immediately after the alarm was raised, and it's prevented the criminals from setting fire to the truck, and that has enabled us to carry out some sampling operations in order to gather evidence from the truck. Thank you very much. I hope that I will be able to come before you and give everyone else an opportunity to take the floor and be able to announce further successes in this investigation. Thank you very much.
Well, that there, a press conference from the Paris prosecutor Louvre Museum, explaining what they're able to tell us about the heist, the theft of those jewels from the Louvre. We knew that 2 people had been arrested, but we got a bit more information about them, both suspected of being the people that entered the actual gallery are the people they've arrested. One is a 34-year-old man of Algerian heritage. He'd been working as a delivery driver. He was known to police for road traffic accidents and theft, and he was found through DNA that was left behind on one of the scooters used to escape. The other man, a 39-year-old Frenchman, a taxi and delivery driver, also known to the police for aggravated theft. He was actually on bail. He was actually on bail for aggravated for another case. His DNA was found on the broken window. You can see the forensic workers just going on there on these images, and also on items left behind, including the crown that was left behind as he fled. She said that both have partially confessed and that they're crimes potentially possible up to 25 years in prison. Jewels that she says have not yet been returned to our possession, but she says she does remain confident that they will be found because they're impossible to sell, because anyone who tries to sell them will be done for handling stolen goods. So a little bit more information about the police operation, but I think those are the key facts that we learned today, that they haven't recovered the jewels. They've given us more information about the 2 men who have been arrested, but that they are still looking for another 2 people who are definitely involved, because there were 4 people that they know were involved on the day itself.